Hello, I'm Michael Dutton, and I'd like to thank you for joining me in this, the fifth part of our series exploring the depth of short prayers. Today we're discussing a prayer from the Bab, which is in this version of the U.S. Baha'i Prayer Book under Triumph of the Faith. It's a short prayer, but I think it has a couple interesting features that I would really like to discuss. Okay, the prayer is quite simple. O Lord, enable all the peoples of the earth to gain admittance into the paradise of thy faith, so that no created being may remain beyond the bounds of thy good pleasure. From time immemorial thou hast been potent to do what pleases thee, and transcendent above whatsoever thou desirest. After a few years and reading about the trials of the Guardian, especially early in his ministry, when so many of the established Baha'is, prominent Baha'is, wanted to establish the Universal House of Justice immediately, and most of them thinking they'd be on it, the Guardian held back and said no, and he developed the belief that we needed to have worldwide participation in the faith to establish the Universal House of Justice, not just established in a few countries, Persia, India, barely in Europe and the United States, mostly throughout the Middle East. And so the Guardian held off and then established the 10-year crusade in 1853, the Worldwide Crusade. And it was my thinking that when the Bab said peoples of the earth, talking about not individuals, but talking about nations, groups, ethnic groups, races, all the units that we subdivide ourselves into. Once all of those people, all those groups came under the banner of the faith, then no created thing would remain beyond the bounds of God's good pleasure. Now, is His good pleasure the Universal House of Justice? That's what I'm thinking, and I may be entirely off base with this, but that's my thinking. And also, no created being. Are we talking about those of us here on Earth, humans? We're talking about all the created beings on Earth, the animals, the insects, the birds, the fish. Are we talking about just the Earth, or are we talking about every planet in the universe? That's an interesting thing, that perhaps spreading the faith on this planet caused beings in other planets to receive God's good graces. Again, that's way out on a limb, and I may be wrong, and that limb is very thin and tenuous. And it's probably wrong, but it's something that the prayer said to me. And so I want you to start thinking, looking at these words literally and poetically both. Why did the Bab say peoples of the earth and not people? What does no created being mean? Answer these questions for yourself. That's really what I want done in these sessions. If you do nothing else, just learn to interpret the prayers for yourself. What do they mean to you? What does this prayer say to you? So, say the prayer. Listen to it. Listen to what God says to you in that prayer. And the more times you say it, probably the more things you will understand in it, and the less you will understand about it, because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know much. So, say the prayer a couple times. Listen to it, have it speak to you. And hopefully, if you like this video, you'll press the thumbs up button, subscribe, and you will join me in our next one as we discuss another or explore the depth of another short Baha'i prayer. Thank you.